Hello, and welcome to the Best Football Show. I am Brian Baldinger. I'm your host. I'll be here nearly every day at Baldy NFL. You can find us also on the free Odyssey app. Like it, subscribe, download it, all that kind of good stuff. I just started my training camp tour today. You can find me at Baldy NFL on Twitter, on X, on TikTok, all the platforms, YouTube. But I'm coming live here from the New York Jets facility where I just got done watching a 2-hour, pretty spirited practice. The Jets are still not in full pads, but they're in shells, so there was some contact out there. The weather was perfect. They went from basically 10 o'clock to noon today. But I got to tell you that Judy Batista from the NFL Network and myself just got done interviewing Aaron Rodgers. And people have all kinds of opinions about Aaron. I'm just telling you, for 12 minutes that he sat down with us, he couldn't have been better. He couldn't have been more thoughtful. Every answer seemed like it was so well thought out. And so, the first thing is, how's the health? He said that he came into training camp 4 days ago. He thought he was like 5% away from being where he needs to be, from coming off that torn Achilles tendon. He said after today, he's 4% away, and he identified a particular play where there was an inside pressure, and he got flushed to his right, had to roll out and elude the defender. I want to say it was Quentin Williams, but it might not have been at that time. But he had to elude him, and really, he had to explode and then make the throw across the middle. And he was able to do that. He thought that was a good sign. You need those kind of plays just to kind of test things, because honestly, his arm looks, I've been watching him for 20 years. The arm looks the same. I mean, it's when you watch him throw football, it's entertaining. I don't care if it's pregame warmup. I don't care if it's 9-on-7. I don't care if it's team drill. They had a 4th down at 1 with no time on the clock, and he hit, he had Alan Lazard in the end zone for a touchdown, and the offense celebrated. They won the drill. They won the day. But the one thing he was really excited about is Breece Hall. And because he said a lot of times, when you're just kind of going through these, you're not padded up, you're not tackling, you're not doing these, like the run game kind of suffers. It's hard to really block guys and hold your blocks and all that kind of stuff. And so sometimes the run game suffers. It just doesn't get the holes that you want to see. But Breece Hall has been telling him, like, these holes are there. They're real. And so then you have to go, okay, Joe Douglas, the general manager, they spent a lot of resources here on upgrading the offensive line. Tyron Smith comes from Dallas. Morgan Moses comes from Washington. John Simpson comes from the Ravens. They've all played a lot of snaps. And then, Joe Tippmann returns. And Ali Vera Tucker returns healthy for the first time. And you start looking at the guys that played last year, whether it's Max Mitchell or Carter Warren, younger guys. And he's like, we've got depth. We drafted Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. And there's Olu out there working with Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith for a half hour after practice. And he's just like so thankful that he's got veterans that have played a lot of snaps working with him and helping him grow up and learn the game. So that's kind of, and then Aaron Rodgers just like, he had said last year that he wanted to play 2 good years for the Jets and have 2 good runs at winning a Super Bowl. And obviously the 4 plays are the 4 plays last year. So he said, like, last year doesn't count. Like, he wants to be here for 2 more years. And so we asked him that question. That's how he answered it. He just said to all Jet fans, like, look, there's going to be some ups and downs. We got a lot of new guys in this roster, et cetera, et cetera. But there's going to be some ups and downs. But this has a chance to be a really good football team. And I talked to him off the air, like every team, no matter what you accomplished last year, every team has to find a new rhythm. They have to find a new stride. They have to find a new way of doing things. There's going to be a level of confidence that kicks in if you're a good team, and it kicks in at sometimes. Sometimes the Eagles started off 10-0 last year. It looked like they were Super Bowl winners, and they fell off a cliff. You don't know when it's going to kick in, and you don't know if it's going to sustain. And so that's where the Jets are. So then I asked Aaron, I go, look, the one thing they threw last year in winning 7 games, which to me was an accomplishment. The Jets last year won 7 games. There are 3 quarterbacks, not counting Aaron, threw a grand total of 11 touchdown passes, the lowest in the league. Like, you can't win games if you're not scoring touchdowns. You can't. Somehow, Breece Hall had a good season. Somehow, Garrett Wilson had a good season. Like, these are, and Aaron's talked to, the core of this team, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, right? Jermaine Johnson. Like, this is the core, Sauce Gardner. Like, this is the core of the team. It's a great young core. They haven't experienced success. They haven't experienced what it can be like playing meaningful games in December, possibly having a chance to play in January. But the one thing in talking to Quinnen and talking to Jermaine Johnson, talking to C.J. Mosley today, like, they almost never got to a point in a game last year where they had a lead in the fourth quarter and they could just step on the opposition's throat and put them away. And even Aaron said, it's a great quote, and it's true. You get a 2-touchdown lead in the second half in NFL games, it totally changes the way the other team has to play. And if the other team has to throw the ball and become one-dimensional against this Jets defense, where there isn't a weakness at any level, the corners are as good as any. The 8-man front, providing Hassan Reddick comes into camp, can be as good as anybody. Their safeties, Chuck Clark and Tony Adams, the guys they can be as good as any. The defense can be great, and I just think if you get them the lead, things can really be different this year. And then I saw Robert Saleh, after practice, and it was, look, it's the 4th day. Nobody's getting carried away here. Last year we got carried away. Anybody that came up to Jets camp, all the veterans, Joe Klecko was here, Curtis Martin was here, like all the guys came back. They wanted to see what all the hoopla was all about. And then, obviously, it died quickly. But even Robert Saleh came up to me and he said, Baldy, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Health provided. Like he said, even like the football gods have to shine down on us eventually. And if the football gods shine down on the Jets and they stay reasonably healthy, their star players line up and play the way you have to, the way the Chiefs star players, whether it's Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, like those guys line up and they play every week. If they can stay reasonably healthy, this can be a lot of fun. Now, it's interesting. The Jets, 3 preseason games, or they play Washington at home, they play Carolina in Charlotte, and they play the Giants at MetLife. And in all 3 preseason weeks, they're going to scrimmage that team. So they're going to see Washington in a scrimmage in a game. They're going to see Carolina in a scrimmage in a game. They're going to see the Giants in a scrimmage in a game. Like, I feel like this team has everything it's going to take to ramp up, get set, and go immediately. Now, last year at this time, their starting tackles, they weren't even practicing. Mekhi Becton, Dwayne Brown, they weren't even practicing last year. Breece Hall wasn't practicing. He was coming off a torn ACL. He was on a pitch count. It was baby steps. Well, you can't say it. This year, there's Tyron Smith for a half hour after practice with Morgan Moses, Olu Fashanu, working on steps. We're working with a young Austin Deculus at tackle, working on individual things. Honestly, outside of Hassan Reddick not being here, this team, and Michael Williams, who was out here today, star receiver they picked up, who was hurt in the 3rd week last year against Minnesota as a Charger, tore his ACL. He's out. And I saw him running. Like, he's still a little limpy, a little gimpy. He's not full speed by any stretch, but at least he's out here running around. So that's encouraging because he's a vertical stretch that every team covets. Now, the star of today, was Garrett Wilson. Like, his ability to just adjust to a ball in the air is as good as anybody in this business. Aaron's been around some great receivers, Devontae Adams, obviously, all the guys that he played with in Green Bay. But this Garrett Wilson, like, he can be great. But Aaron said a part of the greatness that Garrett can be is he also is a great leader, and he needs to lead. Like he has that, like you have to be a great player to truly lead. Like you have to be able to make plays, change games, help win games. In my mind, to be a leader, your star players, not all of them can lead, but Aaron was like Garrett can lead. Like he needs not just the wide receiver room, but his energy, the way that he approaches the game. I talked to him today. Sean Jefferson is his wide receiver coach, one of the best receiver coaches in the league. He's given him a lot of credit. Garrett Wilson can be a flat out star. Now he got 1,000 yards last year with really subpar quarterback play. I don't want to trash anybody that was here. Garrett, with today, the connection with Aaron Rodgers was noticeable. I mean, he didn't drop a ball. And I don't care what drill it was, if it was just individual drills or it was team drills. I would say one of the highlights today was a team period where they were up against the clock. It's a 2-minute drill. They're down there on the 1-yard line. Ball's thrown, and the ball's incomplete. And Aaron immediately goes and really pleads for defensive pass interference. And kind of hard to say no to Aaron Rodgers. They get the interference call. So they come back for another play. And he calls up a play-action pass, and he sticks it to Alan Lazard. And I mean, when I say stick it, the ball, like literally stuck to the chest of Alan Lazard. They score a touchdown the final play of the 2-minute drill. You can't come to practice and watch Aaron Rodgers throw a football and just marvel, honestly. And I'm not gloating because I'm here and we talked to Aaron today and he was great. Like, I always say this, that scouting is the study of movement, but it's also the study of the little things about the game of football, the subtleties of football, how the ball comes out of Aaron's hands, how effortless it is, how it gets there. And even Aaron said today that he threw a ball to Garrett Wilson that he thought he overthrew. He thought like he led him too far. It was going to be an incomplete pass. And he said, this Garrett Wilson, the one thing he's trying to figure out is just how fast he is. Because Garrett caught up to the ball. Like his game speed, ball speed, is probably faster than he times. And even today, I was standing on the sideline towards the end of practice, and they're running a team drill. And he caught a pass going to the sideline. And his ability, like literally to put a foot in the ground and go vertical, north-south, 90 degrees, was really extensive. It was something to marvel at. And then to beat the pursuit that was coming after him and to score the touchdown. A couple other position groups. The tight ends look like Tyler Conklin is a good player. Jeremy Ruckert is a guy you're going to hear about. He's in his third year now. He's a local kid from Lindenhurst, Long Island, went to Ohio State, third-round pick. Like, he's got some game to him. In addition to the guys that made it last year, Brownlee and Xavier and like those guys, Gibson, those guys who, stuck as free agents. The other position group here is, okay, Breece Hall, unanimous choice. If he stays healthy and the line stays healthy, I mean, Breece is a guy that could put up 1,500 yards. Like, he's just that capable. Now, they drafted 2 running backs, Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin and Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota State. Like, when you see these guys now, they are big backs, like big, thick, lower bodies, big, like over 6 feet tall, thick, and powerful. And the thing that jumps out at me when I watch both these young players is how well they catch the ball. Now, albeit it's not games, it's not preseason games or anything like that, but just in practice, they catch the ball very well. They track the ball well. But there's a competition, and I don't want to leave Izzy Abanaconda out. He was, I think, a 4th-round pick out of Pitt last year. But there's 3 young guys that are going to vie for the backup running job. And there's, like, without a lot of experience. So it's a position to watch because they've got size and they've got power. And so it'll be interesting to see who they go with. They got to have you can't let Breece take every snap. You're going to have to spill them. So it'll be interesting to see what they get. So that's that. It was just a really spirited day. Like the Jets are still in the ramp-up period. They were just in shells. They were in shoulder pads and helmets today. Their first full day of pads will be on Monday. I think they have a day off tomorrow. And then they come back Monday in full pads. One other thing that I just marvel, I even asked Aaron about this. He's 40, we get it. He takes every snap. Like every individual drill, he takes every snap. If they're rotating quarterbacks, right side, left side, he goes right side, left side. He never stops throwing. And he said his arm is really good. He could use the day off. He did say that. He could use the day off tomorrow. But he wants the grind. Like there was a time he said, there's a time when he came into this league in 2005. I think I'm right with that. But 2005, you come in the league, you're in 2 days every day, and you're just putting your arm in an ice bath after every practice. Well, he still wants to get the arm tired, to get the calluses. Like it's important to him. So in the team drills, okay, Tyrod comes in, takes a couple snaps, but basically, he took like every snap out there today. Like you said, but what I told you is he's probably 4% away, he thinks, from being 100%. But it was a good day. Good day here with the Jets. Just to give you the heads up, I'm heading to Cincinnati tomorrow. Going to see what the blonde bomber, Joey Burrow, looks like. I'll be in Cincinnati on both Sunday and Monday, then heading to Tampa and to Jacksonville, and then I'll be at the Hall of Fame game, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Anyways, I hope to come to you routinely as often as I can here during this stretch and just giving you the bird's eye view of what I see. But that's been the Best Football Show, and I'm Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL on the free Odyssey app. You can find me here nearly every day. Love to tell you what I see, what I saw, and who I talk to. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you real soon.